The feeling of willingly move crowds is so thrilling. Even Prince Charles is willing to pay shillings.
Hello, world. Welcome to another episode of Songs in the Key of G with your host, me, Mark G. Tonight's episode was inspired by a viewer comment. It was a great suggestion, by the way, that we do something from Tribe Called Quest. So as I was preparing to do this video, kind of thinking about what angle I was going to take, I thought back to a prior video I had done. I thought back to the video I did on Dave of De La Soul after he passed away. So tonight's show is going to be a dedication to Phife Dawg. As I'm sure most of you know, Malik Isaac Taylor, aka Phife Dawg, lost his battle with diabetes in March of 2016. Now, Phife was always my favorite, and I think it actually speaks to kind of a bigger pattern in my life. I always like that number two guy. You know, the one that's not so obvious to like at first, the one that's kind of humble, but every time they step up and do their thing, their contribution is understood immediately. And to me, Phife was one of those guys. It's easy to like Q-Tip. You know, he's handsome, he's super talented, he's out front, he's the first one you notice. But then Phife comes in and he compliments him so well. You know, I rewatched Beats, Rhymes, and Life in preparation for this to just kind of, get me thinking about Tribe again. And, they were talking about the way Phife compliments Tip, and I think that Questlove put it the best when he said, Tip is very smooth, Phife is very hype. And I was just like, yeah, that's what it was for me. So I don't think you're going to get any argument from any hip-hop head when you say A Tribe Called Quest is one of the GOAT groups. For me, it basically goes like this. In first place, it's a tie, Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. In second place, it's also a tie, De La Soul and A Tribe Called Quest. A Tribe Called Quest consists of Q-Tip, Phife Dawg, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, and Jerobi Wright. Originally called Crush Connection and later called Quest, the final incarnation of the group's name occurred in 1988 when Q-Tip made his recording debut on the Jungle Brothers song Black is Black. He was getting ready to introduce himself. He said, "I'm Q-Tip from a group called Quest." At that point, Africa Baby Bam of the Jungle Brothers suggested, "Why don't you say A Tribe Called Quest?" And they liked the way it sounded, and it stuck. In 1989, Phife Dawg made his first recorded appearance on the remix of De La Soul's Buddy. At this point, we see the formation of the Native Tongues Collective, one of the all-time dopest names for any collective ever in hip-hop. The name was inspired one night at a Jungle Brothers session where they were playing records, and one of those records was a record by The New Birth called African Cry. And in it, it contains a line, "Took away our native tongue, taught their English to our young." And they were just like, Native Tongues, that's a super dope name for a collective. The Native Tongues Collective consisted of the Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, Queen Latifah, Moni Love, leaders of the New School, Black Sheep, Chi Ali, Prince Paul. I've even heard it extended as far as to say Brand Nubian, the Beat Nuts, the Bush Babies, Mos Def and Talib Kweli, also known as Black Star, Jay Dilla, Common, Vinia Mojica, and also Fushnickens. So in 1988, Straight Outta Compton drops. And it really, kind of swung things over to the West Coast, but also in a very gangstery way. And I always thought it was interesting that in the same year, the Jungle Brothers, who would inspire this, collective of artistic and creative and free-thinking groups on the East Coast, put out the album Straight Out the Jungle in the same year that Straight Outta Compton came out, because it really does demonstrate the contrast between not only the coasts at that point, but also the mindset of a collective like the Native Tongues. Now, when I think of Phife, I think of a few different things. First of all, I think of really hype energy. I mean, just his delivery and his style, it just kind of inspired a certain energy in me. Now, when Tribe initially came out on their first album, Q-Tip was kind of the breakout star. In fact, the biggest song from that record, Bonita Applebum, Phife's not even on it. But the second album is widely accepted as the breakout moment for Phife. Bugging out right when you turn it on and you hear, "Microphone check 1 2, what is this? The 5-foot assassin with the roughneck business. I float like gravity, never had a cavity, got more rhymes than the Winans got family." I was like, oh my goodness, Phife is here. The second thing I think of, he just had the illest sports references in his verses. "Sit back and learn, come now check the birdie. Your styles are incomplete, same as Vinny Testaverde." Or another one I always liked, "Large professor in the house, you know how we do. I skate on your crew like Mario Lemieux." But my all-time favorite Phife Dawg sports reference, and it's near and dear to my heart, was from the song Classic Example of a Date Rape, where he said, "You know the science, you get buck wild, running Mac games as if your name was Scott Skiles." Now, I've mentioned in other videos that I'm originally an Indiana boy, and Scott Skiles is from my area. And watching him play basketball in high school was incredible. He was super dope as a player. One of my biggest moments in my life was watching him score 39 points to beat Gary Roosevelt in double overtime in the Indiana State Championship in 1982. He was incredible, but then he went on to play at Michigan State. And then he played point guard for the Orlando Magic, where he still to this day holds the single game assist record, 30 assists in one game. You know, he was just a dope player. Another thing I always loved about Phife is he just had a sense of humor that was built in. "Styles be fat like Jackie Gleason. The rest be Art Carney. People love the dog like the kids love Barney. I love you. You love me. The shorty Phife Dawg is your favorite MC." Or the classic line from Electric Relaxation, "Let me hit it from the back, girl, I won't catch a hernia. Bust off on your couch, now you got Siemens furniture." I was trying to think of what my favorite Phife Dawg verse was, and you know, there were a lot of them that came to mind, but I kept coming back to this one. And I know it's kind of an easy one to pick, and there's going to be some people out there that say, "Oh, you could have picked a more obscure one." But to me, his verse on Award Tour is beautiful, and it really kind of sums up his whole career to that point. This song is also special to me because it features our other dearly departed native tongue brother, Dave from De La Soul. "Back in '89, I simply slid in the place. Buddy, 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 all up in your face. A lot of kids are busting rhymes, but they had no taste. Some say Quest was whack, but now is that the case? I have a quest to have a mic in my hand. Without that, it's like Kryptonite and Superman. So Shaheed comes in with the sugar cuts. Phife Dawg my name, but on stage call me Dynamite. When was the last time you heard the Phifer sloppy? Lyrics anonymous, you'll never hear me copy. Top notch, baby, never coming less, sky's the limit. You gots to believe I'm from Quest. Sit back, relax, get up out the path. If not that, here's a dance floor, come move that ass. Non-believers, you can check the stats. I run with Shaheed and the brother Abstract. Know the time when Quest is in the jam. I never let a statue tell me how nice I am. Coming with more hits than the Braves and the Yankees. Living mad fat like an oversized Mom B. You whack-ass crews try to diss, it makes me laugh, but my track record's longer than a DC-20 aircraft. So next time that you think you want something here, pick something different, take that garbage to St. Elsewhere." Classic Phife. Over the years, I've seen the passing of many of my favorite musical artists, both in hip-hop and in other genres. But two of those deaths have really hit me hard, and one was Dave from De La Soul, and I mentioned in a prior video. The other is Phife. I mean, those two were both my age. Phife is actually a year younger than me. I graduated in '87. He graduated in '88. 1988 senior year at Garvey High, where all the guys were corny and the girls were mad fly. Just like I mentioned in my video about Dave, I felt like I knew Phife Dawg. I felt like he was my friend. And when I looked at hip-hop through his eyes, I saw it through a completely different perspective. A lot of great lines, a lot of great verses, a lot of great songs, a lot of great memories. Thank you, Phife Dawg. So those are my thoughts on the Phife Dawg, my favorite member of A Tribe Called Quest. We miss you, man. We miss you. You were gone too soon, and we love you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is Mark G, as always, saying be good to each other. We need a little bit more of that in the world these days. We need a lot more of that in the world these days, actually. So until next time, this is Mark G saying peace.
If you love hip hop, it's to all the real MCs. Come on. If you love hip hop, it's to all the real MCs. Come on. Come on. If you love hip hop, it's to all the real MCs.